I'm Ellis Martin. Strokes, heart attacks, diabetes, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, brain injuries. These are just some of the major afflictions that have affected someone that we know or have known, people close to us. It's inescapable in this thing that we call life. Most often we lose these family members or friends. And again, many of them survive to live out a slow death or debilitation, not only suffering for themselves, but for those of us who love them and take care of them. In my travels as a journalist and entrepreneur, I've come across a company called Zhittya Genesis Medicine and their CEO, Dan Montano. Quoting from the company's website, zgm.care, Zhittya Genesis Medicine's drug development has led them to a possible treatment for those diseases and more, growing new blood vessels in the human body, a process referred to as angiogenesis. FGF-1 is a potent growth factor with just that ability. By growing new blood vessels in the human body, Zhitya believes that FGF-1 could reverse the root causes of those diseases. Please join me for a chat with Dan Montano of Zhittya Genesis Medicine. Dan, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Ellis. Glad to be here.
As you know, Dan, we have new listeners all the time in our various venues that we disseminate news and information. So if you don't mind, please give our audience an overview of Zhittya Genesis Medicine.
Zhittya Genesis Medicine is a biotechnology company that is developing a drug that is going through the U.S. FDA approval process where we are able to grow new blood vessels to treat the number one causes of death in the world. In the heart, through a U.S. FDA cleared trial, we grew new blood vessels, thereby treating heart disease. We have used it to grow new blood vessels on the feet to heal diabetic foot ulcers. And now we're in brain indications for enhanced stroke recovery, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis.
As I understand it, you were recently informed that Mexico has approved your phase 1 program for Parkinson's. This is big news.
This is huge news. Now, we have a application at the U.S. FDA for Parkinson's, but the U.S. FDA has not moved as fast, and Mexico informed us that they wanted a shot, and we filed an application there, and we were approved on February 10th in Mexico to start our phase 1 trial on treating and I hope curing Parkinson's disease.
Dan, walk us through how that will take place for those of us in our audience who either are afflicted with Parkinson's or know someone who has this disease.
Well, first of all, there has been a hypothesis developed over the last 4 or 5 years that what causes Parkinson's disease is a disruption of the small vascularization called microvascularization in the brain, primarily in the substantia nigra area. So as these small capillaries that bring blood to the neurons are being slowly choked off and less blood is getting through, obviously the neurons suffer. And we believe, and there is now a lot of medical evidence that indicates that is what causes Parkinson's disease. In our drug, which triggers the growth of new blood vessels, especially the smaller capillaries that are in need, we believe that by infusing that molecule into the brain, that we will be able to trigger angiogenesis and reestablish the blood flow in those areas. Now, in monkey clinical trials, we were successful. So monkeys were given experimental Parkinson's. We saw their blood flows diminish in their brain. They developed all the classic symptoms of Parkinson's. Then we dosed half of them with our molecule, and we saw not only did the decline stop, but they started to recover back to normal. So we hope that the humans we dose will be the same as the monkeys and recover.
So you're saying there's a chance that there's a 100% recovery from Parkinson's disease?
I don't want to use the number 100%. I would like to use the fact that we believe we can recover people back to what I'm going to call normal. If you didn't play the piano before, I don't think our drug will teach you how to play the piano. But we do think it can be a major improvement back to 80, 90, maybe 99, and maybe even 100%, Ellis. But 100's a big number.
When will the clinical trials begin in Mexico?
Well, now that we have approval, we have the hospital lined up, which is in Monterey, Mexico. We have the clinical research organization lined up, which is in Monterey, Mexico. And we're talking about trying to start dosing within the next 6 to 8 weeks.
How does one sign up to become part of this clinical trial?
Well, first of all, please understand that the hospital in Monterey, Mexico is the leading neurology hospital in all of Latin America. The doctors there are of U.S. quality. In fact, they're the leading experts in all of Latin America, and they would probably equal anybody in the United States. They have an unbelievably brand new, sophisticated facility. They have a large number of Parkinson's patients already, and they have basically told us that for the first few rounds, they believe they have all that will be needed. Now, please understand, our trials are relatively short. So we will dose the first group for 6 weeks, and then we will move on to the second group. Each one will be an ascending dosing group. It is the group at level 3 that we're most interested in seeing the outcome. That is where it was safe in the animals, and that is where we saw the amazing outcome. So we have to dose group 1, wait until it's completed, make sure there's no adverse events, go to group 2, dose, make sure there's no adverse event. So it's group 3 that is of importance to us. And let's assume we have that by midsummer, then we would probably do a larger study, and then people can sign up at our website and hopefully be included in the trial if they're needed.
How many applications of the FGF-1 drug have to be administered during the course of a lifetime following the recovery, potentially, of a Parkinson's patient?
Well, we believe that we are going to dose people once a day for roughly an hour through an infusion in their arm, and that should provide enough molecule to clear the blood-brain barrier and to stimulate the process of angiogenesis. We anticipate doing that 5 days a week for 6 weeks. At the conclusion of that, we believe that enough vascularization should be created that should be something that carries a person for another 10, 20 years, unless they do something traumatic. Now, if they're around toxins all the time and they're inhaling chemicals that destroy their vascular system, obviously they're going to have a shorter time. But we think it should be good for 10 to 20 years.
You and Jack are on the road constantly, Dan, and your next visit is March 8th and March 9th at the Traders Expo in New York City. You'll be presenting there. You've got a booth. It's booth number 94. We're a few weeks away. Tell us what people can expect from your presentation.
Well, first of all, the presentation at the Stock Traders Expo will basically be a presentation, 45 minutes each. It will go into what the diseases are that we think we can treat, how angiogenesis works, and hopefully trying to identify people that can help us and support us in our efforts to get FDA approval. So we believe that the presentation is very academic, it's scientific, but it's not over the head. And interestingly, we were just at the Orlando Money Show, and the presentation there, the room was standing room only, and that is a wonderful thing. And so we're looking for that in New York. There are people there that need our help medically, and we need their guidance to help us get there.
Well, Dan, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you so much for joining me today in the program. I look forward to conversations in the very near future.
I look forward to, Ellis. I thank you for your time.
I've been speaking with Dan Montano, the CEO of Zhittya Genesis Medicine. The company's website is zgm.care. That's zgm.care. All you have to do is type into your browser zgm.care, and you'll find their website. Feel free to contact me with any questions regarding this company as well, and I'll make sure that you are connected to the company. Reach me as follows: info@ellismartinreport.com. I'm Ellis Martin.
Subscribe to the Ellis Martin newsletter. It's free. Go to ellismartinreport.com and fill out the quick and easy pop-up form.